Welcome everybody to Talk That Talk,
Taking
where we have the unfiltered, unscripted, uncomfortable
Let's get down.
conversation.
Taking down.
All right.
All right. Welcome everybody to Talk That Talk. We have the unfiltered, unscripted, uncomfortable conversation about band, HBCU, band culture, music education, and more. So as you can see, it is not the full group tonight because this is a special episode. But there's a couple of things that we do have to get out the way first. First of all, LBR, Luke's Band Report, will be back on next week. We're going to be talking about Edward Waters as well as, I'm going to be giving Edward Waters their grade, as well as the other things that have been taking place in the band world. Obviously, you know, the National Battle of the Bands is coming up, as well as Honda. They have already picked a couple of bands, and you know, you got to do the voting thing, and so we're going to talk about that. So also, one big, huge thing that did happen in HBCU land, whether you all think it's a great thing or not, I think it's an amazing thing. DCI had its first show at a historically black college university. That was at PV. And I'm going to tell you from my personal perspective, it was super dope to be able to see DCI with an HBCU logo on the field. So we're going to be talking about all of that coming up on next week on Luke's Band Report. Stick around for that. Also, for the full Talk That Talk, where the whole cast and crew is going to be back. Remember, we're going to be back in August, but 9 times out of 10, it's going to be mid-August or late August. Here's the reason why. Because National Battle of the Bands is taking place, and we want to make sure that, you know, obviously Quan and Portia are going to be prepared to be able to do a show. Whether you all realize it or not, Portia is going to be performing, not performing, but with the Spartan Legion and FAM in that particular battle. I think it's the day before the National Battle of the Bands. And as you also know, Quan is a band director. And so we want to make sure that his schedule is lined up. So we're either coming back in mid-August or late August. So just be ready and prepared for that. So that's all the news and the updates that I have going on right now. Hold on, let me see. I just got this. Boom. What's that look like? Nope, that don't look good either. We're going to fix that in a second. But without further ado, we are here for a specific reason. This reason to me is very, very important. And what I decided to do today is I told her, and I'm going to be very honest, I told her that I'm going to give her the platform. This is her show, and I'm going to allow her to be able to speak her truth and her side and tell her perspective so that no one can change or manipulate the narrative. It's coming from her perspective, and I'm going to allow her to have this particular show. So if she is ready, there we go. So I'm going to bring her in. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody watching, before I bring her in though, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. Usually I generally say that, but go ahead, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. But here we go. I'm gonna bring her in, Miss Faysha Cole.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Man, I in my personal opinion, this is just an honor to have you here. So I thank you for accepting the invite.
Thank you.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and get all the way down to it. So I'm gonna start really from the beginning, and this is how much I'm gonna say I'm giving you the show.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, I have questions, I have notes, I have none of that today.
Okay.
Because I want to allow you to be able to tell your story, tell who you are, and everything that has gone down. And I may pop in, give some questions, or have some questions in between, as well as we may, if time permits, take some questions if you're up to that. But like I said, this is completely your show. So the first thing I want to do is just let the people know who you are, where you're from, university, all that kind of jazz, and then we'll go from there.
All right, thank you. And I appreciate you creating this platform, number one, but then also allowing me to be here because all of this is a part of the healing journey. So this is the first time I've really actually publicly talked about everything. So thank you so much. But like you said, my name is Faysha Cole. Um, I graduated from Norfolk State University with my master's degree, undergrad 2001, master's 2002. From there, I started teaching at a private school while I was in grad school in Chesapeake called Atlantic Shores Christian School. And from there, I moved to Richmond, Virginia, and started teaching for Richmond Public Schools. And then I eventually got me a high school gig at Thomas Jefferson High School. From there, I went over to Virginia Union University. I was hired there, chosen to rebuild the band program because there wasn't a program when I went. It was kind of like a volunteer band, and they kind of like played indoors. They didn't go on the field and things like that. And it was kind of like a community thing. And so that's my work history and who I am so far. I'm married. Let me say that I'm married. My daughter told me to give her a shout out. I'm married to David Cole. I have two kids, Melody Cousins, who is 14, getting ready to go to high school, and my son Levi Cousins, who is 10, getting ready to go to fifth grade.
Well, look at that. So I do want to throw this out here. The first time I met you was my freshman year. And I met you going to get my instrument upstairs in where the instrument room was, and you were sitting at the table taking everybody's names and making sure everybody had their instruments. So that was the first time that I met Faysha. Always been an awesome person. Always had a smile. I don't think you've ever yelled. At least at us. I don't remember that.
So. I don't either.
Yeah.
I don't either.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. So you were at Virginia Union. What accomplishments would you say that you were able to achieve while you were at Virginia Union?
I established the band program there. There was no instrumental music when I got there. Like I said, it was like a community band that would get together here and there and play for certain important games or what have you, but there was no program. So I definitely, and I don't like saying it because it sounds boastful, but it's just the truth. I built the program from the ground up, and got there in 2011 and built it from the ground up. And so, in addition to that, I created a jazz band. The jazz band is known as the First Thursdays Jazz Band, known all over Richmond, perform everywhere in Richmond, highly in high demand. One of our biggest fundraising entities was the First Thursday Jazz Band. In addition to concert band, pep band, all of the different bands. When I first got there, there was nothing established. I decided, hey, we're going to go to these basketball games and play at the games. Nobody said, hey, you need to sit here and play at the basketball games. I said, we're going to go to the games. And then I said, hey, we're going to play, if we're playing at the boys' game, we're going to play at the girls' game. So, I established all of that when I got there. Basically, the culture, the band culture on the campus of Virginia Union University, the instrumental music culture on the campus of Virginia Union University.
So what was the expectation from the admin when you took on the job? Like when you got hired, what were they expecting you to do?
Then all they said was build a band, because you have to understand that none of them, when I got to Union, I was by myself. There was no one at Union that did what I did. So I was literally alone in the craft. Like there was no way. It's not like I could go talk to my neighbor and say, hey, what do you think about X, Y, and Z? Any other person in the department at that time, because at that time I was considered faculty. I was in the School of Social Sciences, and like I said, I was considered faculty, but at that time there was no one else that taught instrumental music. And so they didn't really give me an expectation but to have the band ready to perform. The first year we didn't go on the field. The second year we were ready, we went on the field. And we went, we still did all the stuff like CIAA and all of that stuff. My second year, full-fledged band on the field, and I mean, and from year by year, it was amazing.
And so you were saying, so you didn't even have a staff to work with you in the process of you building.
No, no, no. It was just me. It was just me. I eventually was allowed to hire a part-time person, which was William Prentice, which everybody knows who William Prentice is. And so I did get to hire William Prentice. But as far as if you saw anybody with me, those people were volunteering. Okay. They were volunteering. They were giving their time. They just believed in band and just had a passion for it. So they were doing what we do as band heads, being there helping. And so, and it wasn't a bunch of transient people. It was all people that I knew. But no, I just really had to teach the culture of band. And there's still a long way to go, because at this point, when I was fired, it was still just me. Prentice came in, but during COVID, that was it. They hadn't hired. We didn't have an assistant. They gave me about a $10,000 stipend to give to the people that did help me. So it's still no staff, because all of my staff have to work, and so and some of them work 2 and 3 jobs, and so it's still a long way to go when it comes to just teaching the culture. Like, okay, you have 100 people in the band, you got 100 people, and you got one me. You got 100 people on the football team, but you got 8 full-time people there. So what's the difference? There's no difference. But we couldn't. It was just hard to get them to see that.
So, well, I'm actually in 2 places right now, but my first question is, I guess, so was there a scholarship budget allotted to you all to be able to recruit?
Absolutely. So I was hired when Claude G. Perkins was the president. So the president I came in with is not the president I went out with. So he gave us scholarship money, and the band did well under there. Now, we did hit a stagnant spot where we didn't grow because the scholarship money didn't increase for 7 years. It stayed the same. So we did not grow for a long time. We maintained and we made a mark, but we didn't get bigger. And the ratio for how many people are in the band versus on the campus. And Union is a small school. And so we were doing overly well for our size in school. So we did have a $200,000 budget when I first got there for scholarships, which is really a drop in the bucket because Union is a private college. But a lot of the kids that came there because they just love and stayed in the band because they love music.
So you would say that the administration, all the people who were high up was very supportive of, you, the program, and what you were trying to do?
Absolutely. I mean, of course, there were barriers and roadblocks, but everybody's intentions were pure, so it was just a thing where things had to be taught. Everything's not going to just be handed to you. So, but yeah, when I first got there, everything was, like I said, I was a faculty member when I first got there. I left as a staff member. And so, under faculty, it was way more understanding that, because I was also having to fight, and I hope I'm not skipping around a lot, but I was also having to fight for, we're not just, we have music majors in here, so we're not just an athletic band. We need to be able to do stuff like, I really believe in IMA that we have. We need to be able to do stuff like IMA. We need to be able to take the kids. I really, really, really wanted to go to the consortium. I really wanted to take them there, but we really had to fight a lot to get the students, to get the administration to understand that they're not just holding instruments and playing. They're not just an athletic band. In that sense.
And that seems to be like a really big misconception when you're dealing with, I guess admin who just don't know. And specifically when you're trying to build, And honestly, that can be very frustrating when you're trying to be in this space where you kind of know what you're trying to do, you know what you need, but it's kind of like, well, I'm trying to teach you while I'm trying to teach kids. And so that can be like super frustrating.
Yeah. Something happened with your sound. You kind of got a little lower. I'm not sure.
Can you hear me now?
A little bit more if you could turn it up some.
How about now?
Okay. All right.
Okay, is that better? All right.
Yeah, thank you.
No, you good. You good. All right. So you were saying that you started with one president and you went out with another. You started as faculty and then you went out as staff. How did you go from faculty to staff?
I really don't know how it happened. I just was told it was 1 year when I got my contract that you're now staff and you're under the athletic department. And I said, okay. I really think it was done in an effort to help with the class load because I was really I was overworking because I was teaching a full class load and doing 3 different ensembles. So I had 12 hours worth of teaching and I had the bands, and so, and we practiced every day. And again, they weren't used to that culture because at the time the choir didn't practice every day. They practiced twice a week, and so that's what they were used to. But no, band has to practice every day. And so, and then it's gonna be multiple times a day and then a sectional later, and so I don't think that they understood that load was really heavy. So I think in the effort to help me with that load, I was moved over to athletics.
So did that change anything else other than title?
It changed a lot. It changed who I answered to. It changed. I could no longer get tenure, so I could no longer apply for tenure as a staff member. But these are things I didn't understand at that time. Like it didn't really hit me when it happened because it happened as we were in the middle of COVID. So it kind of was like a sneak thing. It kind of like slid in on me, and I didn't really grasp like what was happening. But yeah, and just not being on the academia side, but on the athletic side, and I'm 100% academics. I graduated with 2 degrees in music education. I want to teach. I want to be a teacher. I want to educate. But being on the athletic side, it wasn't about that. It was about get ready for the performance. So
as somebody who went through that particular situation, if you could give any advice to anybody getting their degrees, music education degrees, masters or whatever, what advice would you give when we're talking about the differences between being a faculty and a staff member?
You always want to go where you can work up to something. For staff, they can fire you at any given time. You always want to be in a position where you can earn tenure and you can earn levels of your teaching. You can become an instructor. I stayed an instructor the whole 11 years I was there. You want to go from instructor to professor to assistant professor. And I mean, it was crazy. And what's crazy is it was people within the department. I'm making sure I'm careful because we are live, but there are people within the department that were brought on for other initiatives, couldn't read music, couldn't do this, couldn't do that, but still were considered professors and over top of me. And it was amazing to me. It was absolutely amazing to me that those things were happening. But sometimes names mean more than knowledge. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. It's the unfortunate thing about, I guess, the who you know. I don't know if that's, I don't know. In my opinion, sometimes I don't know if that's the best conversation that we can have when it comes to the knowledge that you have. But I know hearing that is like a slap in the face, right? You've been there for that amount of time, but you never moved up. How much do you feel, or do you even feel like some of that played into the fact that you were a female band director?
A lot of it played into it. a lot of it. I think that if I would have stayed a faculty member, there would have been room for me to move up. But I know I'm not the lowest paid band director in the CIAA, or I wasn't the lowest paid band director in the CIAA, but we can put female band director salary up against the male's salary, and the reason why I'm saying that is because I talked to, and I know she won't mind, Juliet Boykins. We were the two females for a long time in the CIAA, and we would both talk about needing to get raises, needing to have X, Y, and Z. And then when I go over and I talk to this person, that you're looking at $15,000-$20,000 difference, and so I think it did have a lot to do with it. I think that honestly, being a female in that athletic department doing what I did had a lot to do with me getting fired as well. Being a mom, being a wife, I think that had a lot to do with it. I think that ego and had a lot to do with it. I'm a very compassionate person. I get along with everybody. And I mean, that's just always been who I am, and I'm never gonna be disrespectful or not a team player. And I've always been that. If they needed me somewhere, I was there. If they needed me, if they wanted me to do something, I figured out how to make it happen. We didn't go play at the Wynton Marsalis Festival that they called and invited us to because they wanted us at a game. You see what I'm saying? So like you understand how hurtful that was, right? Like we sit here like a basketball game. Like
over something as major as this.
Yeah, like come on, they called and invited us. And the teaching opportunities the kids could have had, and just especially being by myself, things that I could have learned watching other people, do pedagogy wise and stuff. So it a lot of collegiate. A lot of people say they want to be on a collegiate level, and I'm not saying that it's all bad, but a lot of it is like you said, who you know, who you're cool with, and but a lot of it is crab in the barrel mentality, and I stood alone. I felt like I didn't have to find my way up, but when I moved over to that department, I mean, one of the most embarrassing moments, and I still get upset about it. So, but I'm gonna keep my thug on. But last year, like I knew something was going on because last year my observation came back below 50%, and I was below 50%. I had no idea that my observation was below 50%. I was the lowest ranked person in the athletic department, and it was passed around in a meeting for everybody to see. And I took pictures of it, I sent it out, and I was like, I can't believe this. Like why am I why am I ranked 50? I know that I'm better than this. Like I had a conversation. I had a kind of conversation with my one-on-one. I had a conversation with human resources, but no, everybody knew what the plan was before I did. The plan, I guess, had been in the works for 2 years, because one of my staff members came to me 2 years ago and said, "Hey, they trying to get rid of you." 2 years ago, okay? And it was the first big leak we had on campus, and we were moving all of the equipment from one building to another. And he was like, I just always said that if somebody's job was at jeopardy, I would help them out and let them know. And so I who I am, right? I reached out to the president like, yo, the street committee is saying y'all trying to get rid of me. If you don't want me here, just tell me so that I can figure out where I can go, what I can do, And he was like, no, 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 I'm going to talk to your department and I'm going to make sure that, you're comfortable. You keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job. I always kept getting reassurance from the president because I'm not going to feel uncomfortable and not talk to my superiors. I let my direct one-on-one know, why is everybody saying y'all trying to get rid of me? And then the thing that hurt the most about it is that it was people outside of the school that people inside of the school were talking to, telling them that they were trying to get rid of me. And for the life of me, I have only thing I do, Jay, is tell the truth. That's all I did. That's it. That is it. Like, only thing I did was tell the truth. And I think that a lot of this came to head simply because we needed instruments. Um, um, goodness. Shaw came to Virginia Union, played Shaw. I said, yo, Andre, let's get together and play a joint song on the field. That'll be dope. Did that. It was dope, right? The president and the athletic director at that time came up to me and said, this was a great performance, but what can we do to get that many people in our band? And I said, we need more scholarship money. It's been the same since 2015. And at the time it was maybe about 2018, right before COVID. No, it was right after COVID, 2019, 2020.
About 2019, 2020.
Yeah, it's about that time. And so he was like, okay, I'll raise you. He raised my scholarship budget $300 additional to what I already had, $300,000 additional to what I had. I went on a recruiting frenzy. I got 100 people in the band. That's what he wanted, 100 people in the band. I got 100 people in the band. And everybody saw those 100 people in the band this past year. They were there. I got a phone. We had another major league. This is the second league. The first league that I talked about was the year before last. The next flood was this past year. And we had another league. I'm taking the instruments out, trying to put them in place and seeing what we have. And I'm like, hey, we got to replace some of this stuff. Plus, I need instruments for the increase. And I'm thinking, well, once they see that I increase, then I'm going to get money to get instruments.
Right. You proved yourself. So now you need to provide for what you asked me to do.
And that's what I thought was going to happen. Instead, it was just like, it was a phone call made, and the phone call, I was in there with the athletic director and my direct one-on-one. And the phone call made was to the president, like, hey, she has about 7 or 8. Well, it was way more than that, but they agreed to get me 7 or 8 instruments. But all the stuff, the keyboard, the drumline equipment got wet. And the drumline equipment was we borrowed the drumline equipment at TJ when I was teaching at TJ. That's how old that is. That stuff is almost 20 years old. So it got wet. Set in water before we knew that it was water.
So that wood is all warped. Yeah.
All warped. I got pictures of the way the wood warped before the water. And so, so one of the things that the president said, he was like, well, we need to talk to, he always called me Director Cole. We need to find out from Director Cole why she's recruiting people for instruments she doesn't have. And I'm like, yo, you told me I had to get to 100. And so that's when I started realizing that, okay, the right hand don't know what the left hand doing. So does the president not know that my department, he's giving my department money and my department's not giving me the money? Or is it that they're all together and they know they're not giving me any money, but they're just, saying they're doing it? But I finally got to this year where it's nothing. I cannot use any more duct tape. I cannot use any more soldering on these tubas. Safety pin, clothespins on saxophones. I can't do it anymore. Like, we're at the point now, and I was looking for the band to increase this year. We're at the point now, I can't duct tape it. We at the NFL Hall of Fame about to hit the field and the quints break because of the poor conditions of the equipment. And then not even just that. The dancers made their own uniforms. And they were beautiful. Like, you would never know. If you go back and look at that Ohio thing, you would never know that them girls made their own uniforms.
So there wasn't a budget for purchasing anybody to outsource uniforms, anything like that?
Nothing.
Jesus.
Nothing. And so nobody knew that we were dealing with that kind of struggle. But I had to start speaking up for the kids because I had a kid that had to go into an ambulance after a game, one of our Legion brothers' sons, because the equipment was bad and it fell off. And I don't know if you can see the comments. One of my students is here. One of the band booster president had to rent him an instrument because he's an awesome player. You know, he was a student leader. The band booster president rented him an instrument for almost the whole season, I think, Jerry. And so, I mean, we were just all, the community of people that supported the band just all did what they had to do to make it work. You know, so we didn't, like, I'm looking, we about to go on the field. And let me tell you, my kids killed it. They killed it. But I'm looking, and the girl one of the dancers is undressed in the side. And I'm like, what's going on? Her uniform falling apart. They trying to pin her in before we hit the field. We're literally 4 minutes on the clock about to go on the field, and she's undressed in the side trying to, you know, put stuff together. And, you know, things like that, you expect things like that to happen, but it just became, it was all the time. It was all the time. I mean, and not to even mention that we didn't even have anywhere to practice this year because of the floods that were happening in the buildings. And, you know, it just, nobody know the struggle. Nobody knows like how we had to practice in the rain because there wasn't a band room, or practicing in a small space because the band room is small anyway. The band room is a classroom. It's not really a band room. I mean, I said, can we get a trailer? Can we do this? Can we do that? Can we get internet? Can we get a working bathroom? Can we get, you know, like, can I have 2 bathrooms, a girl's bathroom and a boy's bathroom in the place that we have to practice? It was just a lot. And so what started happening is, and a lot of people know that the band was suspended for the majority of the year. And I realized in hindsight, they were suspended because they didn't want me in front of the marching band.
What was the reason that they gave you for the suspension?
So the one suspension, we got back from a competition, and some of the kids were off campus and got in a fight off campus in their windsuits. The whole band got suspended for that. The whole band got suspended for that. The second time I can't really talk about because it's kind of like a major, you know, but still, instead of disciplining that particular person, the whole band got disciplined. So it became a thing where if one person in the band did something, once again, one of your band members is da 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 da, and I'm like, yo, y'all wanted me to get 100 people in the band. I got 100 people in the band. I asked for more faculty, more staff to help me with the band. You will not give me anybody else. You know, when I bring people on, I was bringing people on that were willing to help without getting paid, just willing to help. I got in trouble for that. Don't bring people on because volunteers might think more than what they are. And, you know, it just became, so no matter what I did, I couldn't. But look, with all of that, I still wanted to be there. That's the thing. I still wanted to be there. I still, you know, love those kids and my students.
You love the kids. You love the program that you built. You've seen something that you've invested your time, your energy, your heart, your passion into, and you're like, this is where my heart is. This is where I want to continue to give back. And you had, because what I'm hearing. And I don't want to cut you off too much because I'm really just listening. I'm a fly on the wall, but what I'm hearing is they said this is what I want, but didn't know what the ramifications of what that looks like. They didn't know that it's a finance, it's a price tag on top of just people, and that's one of the things that you know we've talked about on multiple times on this show is the fact that you know. Admin are really just completely gone and lost at what it truly takes to outfit a band program. Hence the reason why I'm adamant, this is me now, this is me speaking, hence the reason why I'm very, very adamant on the fact that we have multiple Battle of the Bands, but these Battle of the Bands aren't supplying these band programs, which are the bread and butter of your particular event. You're not supplying them with the needs that they deserve showing up to your event. You pocket $1 million, but you give them 20,000. So this is actually just really disheartening to hear. But I do apologize. Go ahead.
Oh no, it's fine. I mean, and the thing about it is, I believe in people, and I believe in people to a fault, and that's what happened when, and like I said, hindsight is is everything. But looking back at the many times I turned in requisitions and stopped what I was doing to turn in or to cut a requisition, and I realized at this point they were never even trying to give me anything. It was just stuff to try to keep me, holding on. We literally were about to go into having a band A and a band B. Band A would play, then we would switch so that half of the instruments can be used with the other set of kids, and I mean, I wrote out the whole plan about band A and band B. I have a whole plan written out that I sent about how band A would play first half of the game, band B would play second half of the game, and so, and that's the thing. I just want to make sure that I emphasize that Virginia Union is a great place. Like it's just that I was just not under the right person. I just don't, I don't, one of the most hurtful moments is when we were in Ohio, and I encourage you to go look at that show because it was the first game of the season, and we had to be last game ready, right? We had to be last game ready at the first game of the season, and I was walking off the field, and again, like I'm not going to say any names, but somebody said to one of my bosses, basically, somebody said to my boss, "Hey, the band looks good. Oh my gosh, there's so many of them. What happened?" Well, I told her if she didn't get more people in the band, I was going to fire her. You're saying that outside in the open because I look like one of the kids. If I had on my Jordans, I had on a t-shirt, some some
and it ain't like you're 6 feet tall,
right,
so.
right. So I blended in, and so. And I actually told my boss, like, I heard you say that. And I really think if I never would have said I heard you say that, it wouldn't have been an issue. But I said that because I wanted them to know, like, hey, stop telling me to be a team player when I know how you represent outside of when you don't think I'm listening. Because I am a team player. There's plenty of times cheerleaders ride the bus with us and the band boosters feed them. You see what I'm saying? I'm a team player. Don't no band want no cheerleaders riding with them, but we did that. you don't want them cheerleaders riding with them.
Facts.
So, but we did that, and I didn't complain. You know what I'm saying? And that's why it kind of was weird. The whole situation was just kind of strange to me. I just never thought that you could put so much into something and somebody. I just never thought that they would treat me that bad. To call me in, first of all, to call me while my father-in-law was on his deathbed, like to say, well, I don't know. It looks like they don't want you to be there anymore. Well, I don't know for sure, but we're going to give you two options if they don't want you there anymore. Athletics doesn't want you in there anymore. And then had nerve to say, we told all the VPs to cut the dead weight. And I was like, I'm dead weight? You calling me dead weight? And it was just.
So wait, this is the conversation that they had with you? Like they brought you in the office and we told all the VPs to cut dead weight and looking you dead in your eye.
All right, so let me fix it. Let me set it up for you.
Okay, go
ahead. I started having anxiety about what am I going to do because they want me to be ready to perform on these big stages. Because while they suspended the band, they still had jazz band doing all of this high profile stuff. All of the equipment had been wet. Everything had gotten wet. And so I spoke up. I said something to one of the VPs, and I said, "Listen, I don't know what's going on, but I need help. Like I need help." And I'm thinking I'm getting help, and I telling them like this is emotionally draining. I don't know whether somebody's telling me one thing and then somebody's telling me something else, and then every time a kid goes to the president, the president tells the kid to come back to me, and it I don't have anything to say. I don't know what to do. And the kids are looking at me like, Miss Cole, but you said you put in the order. I did put the order in. So I talked the guy that I talked to, he called me and he was like, well, he told me he was gonna talk to athletics, and once he talked to athletics, he was gonna give me a call or what have you and let me know what they talked about. And that was the conversation that they had. And this was the night, the same day that my father-in-law had a heart attack. And we were at Duke Medical Center. And I'm outside of Duke Medical Center, hysterical. Okay? Hysterical. And that's when he said that on the phone. And I was like, so instead of fixing the problems, they're thinking about firing me. Instead of
Wait,
getting
he
me
called.
some,
I'm sorry. He called to break up with you over the phone.
yeah. Yeah. They broke up with me over the phone first. Yeah, they broke up with me over the phone first. And it was just, and then I just need you to understand that I'm watching my father-in-law die. Like literally watching. And I have to be there for my husband. And I'm destroyed in the inside. It's by the grace of God I have my sanity right now. Like I'm telling you, like I'm destroyed. Like I didn't even know that I could feel that much of what I don't even know what it was called. I don't even know what to call it. You know, it was I don't know. It just the thing that really bothered me too is that I taught my band students when my president first got to the school, he had like a lot of stuff negative that followed him from Bethune Cookman. And I'm not saying anything that's not already public. Um, I said I was gonna keep my thug on, but I'm not saying anything that's not already public. But I taught the kids how not to talk bad about the university leadership and don't write negative things down and don't do this and don't do that and don't listen to everything you hear and don't believe that and don't believe this, and how I defended and took up for everybody that I worked for, but then they just kind of like threw me away after 11 years. So the same person that said that called me stood beside me in convocation, right before graduation to say, I mean baccalaureate to say, you ready for tomorrow? Because the band had to march. I had to put a band together to march and sing "We Are Marching in the Light of God." I had to have the jazz band play 45 minutes worth of music, for the prelude. And that's just all stuff that bands do. But then you stood beside me and said, you ready? You ready for tomorrow? And I could feel all through me that I just could feel. I could feel it. And then when I got back, as soon as I finished graduation, I went back to South Boston to be with my family, my husband's family. And the next day, after we buried his dad, the next day they called me into the office and officially fired me.
So, what I'm hearing, this is crazy. I'm sorry. I'm. It's so much I'm processing as you're telling me this, and this is crazy, absolutely crazy, to hear this story. But what I'm hearing is he breaks up with you over the phone, but still expects you to work. Like, how can you tell me this and then you want me to still do this work for you?
And I had to come back. I came back and had to be in front of the students, knowing that he had a conversation with athletics and they told him they didn't want me no more. The only thing I'm gonna say that I really respect, and I know he knew. but he couldn't do anything. But I do respect my my actual AD, my actual direct report, because I got that phone call and I text him and I said, I don't know what to do. I feel like I need to come back to Richmond to try to save my job and to get the kids together, but I know I need to be here with my husband. And he texted me, he said, you stay where you are, you're a wife and a mother first. And he said that. And I stayed. You know, I mean, I can't imagine if I would have left and then my father-in-law would have died without me there. Or it just, it's just, I just, the thing is, this past year, it's been a lot of, I see all my students writing in the comments. um, this past year, it's been really up and down when it comes to, well, you know, I saw on social media a well-known band director committed suicide over some struggle in power.
Yeah.
You know, then I saw where a lady that was in high position at an institution committed suicide because the people in the upper echelons were not listening to her and they denied her you know, leave and all of that stuff because of whatever she was going through. And I don't think people understand that there's no way for you to be a band director and not be emotionally attached to it if you're doing a job right. You know, because if you're doing a job right, you care about the students like they're your kids.
They
Because
are your kids.
I'm not gonna talk to your mom and say I could give your child a scholarship for X, Y, and Z and not care about what happens with the child.
Yep.
Like the thing that I really love right now is that I'm not worried about the fact that there's no air conditioning on campus. Them kids are, you know, I am worried about it, but it's like I used to have to take all that on. You know, I'm hearing this stuff about there's no air conditioning, the raccoons in the building, and all the other stuff they posting. That was stuff that I would come home at night with and hold on to it because if it was my child, I would want you to fix it. You know, it needs to be fixed. You know, and so that's you can't disconnect emotionally, and music is an emotional thing. You have to, in order to be a good performer, you have to get into the music and feel what you're playing. And then especially when you're playing music that has lyrics and you think about the lyrics, you actually have to engross yourself in that. And so, you know, to say you're really upset over a job, no, that was my family. That was my family, you know. So my family, you took my family, you know, and it hurt. And I mean, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm probably gonna get my husband sitting over on the side, but it also hurt that my like I really did think that my staff was gonna fight for me. You know, I really did think that, and so it had me questioning, like, well, what did I do wrong? Like, what is it that I did that would make nobody, like, say, for instance, down the road, they try to get rid of a band director down the road. Everybody signed a petition to keep him there. He's still there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't even get nobody even wanted to sign a piece of paper for me. I was in a position where I was starting to realize that um you have to, I mean, I'm getting way into other stuff, but like it has to be a disconnect between the staff and looking at them as your family. And but it's so hard to spend that much time with somebody and not care about them and not love them.
You know, I understand exactly what you're saying. Um, I mean, all parts of it, every single piece of it. Um, One thing I've learned and I've truly found out just being in the band director world, stepping outside of the band director world, watching how things have transpired in the band director world. The one thing that now me and my wife say a lot of times are people.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, because when you truly put your heart into people and you really invest into people and you want to see people grow and you take them under your wing, or you do this for them, or all of these different things and these different variables, and then when stuff hits the fan, you expect for them to be and reciprocate the same things that you gave to them. But people are people. And that is the unfortunate thing about, situations like this. I mean, even just down to the fact of the way that, just listening to the story that you told, the way that they let you go, what you did for that program, listening to the story, listening to the fact that y'all didn't have adequate facilities, y'all didn't have the instrumentation, the uniforms, and just seeing in the chat, and this is stuff that I already knew, but the revitalization of KK Psi and Tau Beta Sigma, like all of these different things that were taking place, and it's like, all right, well, appreciate you, bye. Not enough regard to even sit down and say, hey, we're seeing these things. Can you do X, Y, and Z to improve? Not even giving this. It's just, all right.
And that's what I asked when I was brought in and I was talking to human resource. I said, well, can y'all tell me what's wrong and give me the opportunity to fix it? Because I'm not perfect. I know that. Listen, I have a hard time getting up in the morning, okay? Because I stay up late. Okay, I know what my weaknesses are. Sometimes I don't turn paperwork in on time. But that didn't mean I needed to be fired. You might ask for my 30-day plan on the 5th, and I give it to you on the 6th at 12:05. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that I have weaknesses, but when you're running a program by yourself, it's draining. It's hard to keep every I dotted and every T crossed, and people don't understand that. And then when your space is taken, like I didn't even have a comfortable place to like work, because the building flooded where all of my stuff was, and I still don't have my stuff, like my awards that I got and all that stuff is still on campus. But one of the thing when you say people are people, one of the most hurtful parts was that they named my assistant interim the same day I got fired. And it just the whole staff is still there. Like, all of them are still there. I don't expect them to quit because I quit. But I just need to make sure it's known that they're not making no thousands and thousands of dollars. That's not happening because we didn't have no budget for them, and there was plenty of people that were, working free. Like my dance coach, she works for free. One of the people that helped with the flags, she works for free. And the reason why I could get them in there is because they were students. And so they were students that graduated from the university. So the university didn't shun on them when they saw them, but I couldn't make no announcement that they were helping or anything like that. I had to get them to fill out a volunteer form. But, I just didn't think that it would be like, so I got fired on Friday, and on Sunday they had a meeting with the kids in the band, and they were planning the show for the next season. And it was just like, I don't expect everybody to stop and sulk and all of that, but I just didn't expect everybody to pick up and move on like within 48 hours. I was still stuck in the bed. I couldn't get out the bed. Like, I was stuck in the bed. I mean, and even with and everybody that's texting me, I see y'all. I see y'all on my watch. I'll call you after I finish. But the university put out a letter that congratulated me on my next venture the same day I got fired.
And I was gonna bring that up. Because the way that you're talking about, you got released from your position, and then they put this phony letter out, and I'm looking at this letter, and the first thing I'm like is, why did she leave? Like, I don't believe this. And then I'm seeing posts like, no, she didn't leave. They let her go.
My mom, let me tell you something. When you're a parent, you're going to be a parent forever. My mom, she just could not sit back. And I couldn't say anything. And because you came to me when it first happened, and I wasn't allowed to talk about it or I wouldn't get my last paychecks. So I just said, I can't talk about it. I need my last paycheck, and, but my mom made sure that everybody knew that, no, she's not going anywhere. But let me tell you, I didn't know how to handle them feelings with my father-in-law dying and finding out I was getting fired, possibly getting fired on the same day. I didn't know how to deal with the fact that I had just got fired and people are congratulating me, calling me on where I'm going next. And I literally almost lost my mind in the middle of the doctor's office parking lot. My husband had to drive me to get my medication because I couldn't even drive. Like Taylor Whitehead, the band director from Virginia State, he had to make sure I got home. My it was so bad. And I was just like, why would they do this to me? Like, why would they put that? Why did they just let me be fired and let me be fired? Why you had to put out a letter with me smiling in the choir room like it's all good? And I wouldn't wish that. And you would think that I treated them badly. Like that's the part. You would think that I was a hard person to work with. That's what you would think. And I swear to you, that's not who I am. It's just not who I am.
And again, we've had this conversation multiple times. It's so much stuff that, this is just wow. But we've had this conversation multiple times here on the show, and just to kind of backtrack. And I know because I've gone through it, not at the university level specifically, but as a high school band director, Quan's going through it. Being a band director by yourself is difficult. No staff, and I dealt with a situation where support wasn't that strong. And very similar, you're asking for stuff, you say you need stuff, but then you're saying, well, we can get it, but then all of a sudden you get absolutely nothing, or they put you on hold and you still, like, I've seen and I've been a part of and I understand everything that you're speaking of from a personal perspective. But it's crazy to me in the fact that, one, that you said that they had this kind of, or you felt like they had, or actually you were told that they had this in the making for 2 years. They, for the most part, since the ban was suspended, kept you from in front of the band, and then called you at the most detrimental time in your life to let you know, hey, I appreciate your services. And then called you dead weight. That one is just nuts to me. So now, in my I guess my question is now, like, I mean, do you, and you can say this, or if you can or not, but do you still communicate with anybody up there? Or do you know what's happening with the program, or you just kind of cut all ties?
So I've lost a family. Like I've lost a family. And it's people that come that I was in the department by myself. Like I said, it was nobody that did what we did. So we were in our own little hub. So many people did reach out, and so I want to make sure I say that there's so many people. It's so many great people over there, and they still checking on me and stuff like that, and apologizing, and that stuff has happened, and but as far as within the band community, it's hard. It's too hard. It's too hard because I mean I went to bat and I protected so protected a lot of them. And to just like not even, I don't know, I can't like my staff knew my kids before my kids were, thought of, you know what I'm saying? And so, not to even say, hey, do you need us to help you get some groceries today? Or like it's been none of that, and it just showed me, like you said, people are people. And what I realized is that I thought that everybody believed in the vision and that's why they were there. But sometimes it's not about the vision, it's about band. Like some people are just in love with band. It has nothing to do with what's wrong, what's right. It's just I love band and this is what I'm gonna do. And that's where I think, we are. I don't have an issue with anybody there. I just know that I can't be the same person that I was with them before, because like I said, I didn't expect my assistant to take on the position of interim director the same day I got fired. Yeah, I asked you to help, be there for the kids, do this, do that. I didn't know you were going to like take it on. And I want to say he's a great person. I love him to death. He's not a bad person, and it's no way for him to know how that would make me feel with him doing that. You know what I'm saying? It's no way for him to know that. But if they would have fought for me, had, like I said, even just sign a piece of paper. The man at the set, I was walking out of the Walmart and the man had me sign a piece of paper for some guy, that black guy to run for president. I was like, anybody could have done that, but I just know that God has to have something in store. And that's the
Yeah.
only reason why I'm okay, Jay. Like, that's the only reason. Like, that's it.
So before I get to the next question I got on my brain here, guys, y'all go ahead and hit the like button for Fayesha, because this, if I can hit the like button myself, I could hit the like button. If there's a heart, I would hit the heart button. Something. We don't have a hug button on YouTube, unfortunately, but give her as much love as you possibly can, because this here it's crazy. And honestly, this is not the first time that I've heard about a director being let go randomly. Let's be very clear. And it happens. I'm not going to say it happens all the time, but it happens more often than not. Oh my gosh, it's so much I could say with that. But so what's next for Fayesha? Are you still in the band brain, or are you just kind of like, I need to take a step back? Are you
I was ready
hunting?
to go to the store to bag groceries, honestly. Like I honestly fell out of love with music for about 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. Like I mean, it's only been like 8. But I legitimately fell out of love with music, and because it hurt so bad. And I don't think people understand it. Yeah, it's good for you, but it's good to you, but it can also be bad for you. This worse than this experience is worse than breaking up with you going to sleep. This is
No, my light cut off, and I was trying to fix it. That was it. Yeah, you good?
that you was going out on me, but
No, there
this
we
is
go.
harder than like breaking up with your boyfriend or your husband or your girlfriend or your wife. It's been harder than something like that. But I I applied to at a few schools, and actually the same week I was fired, I was offered jobs before I even applied anywhere. And so I really want to be a collegiate band director, but that's not where I'm going to be right now. I'm going to be working, and I'm really grateful for this opportunity. I'll be working with gifted students at Appomattox Regional Governor School in Petersburg, Virginia. Um, and I would like to say, I know I said some things that pertain to like how hard it was to see the staff move on. I did have 2 staff members that contacted me, gave me job leads, And I actually got this job because one of my staff members um, gave me the insight to apply for that job. And so it's a it's going to be something different for me. Um, at Union, I wasn't able to, like, I would never get approved to go to like Midwest conference. I would never get approved to go to do anything to feed myself and so that I can learn more. But even on my interview, they say, "Are you willing to do this, that, and the third?" And all this is stuff that betters me. And so I just believe that one, it's going to teach me a new thing, which is working with gifted students. And it still it stays in line with my purpose and my passion, which is um, bridging adolescence to adulthood through music education. That's what I believe my calling is, and so it still helps me with that. It is actually a pay raise, uh, and it's less time commitment, and so you know, it hurts like he double hockey sticks not being on the field right now. I'm not going. I'm not gonna hold you on that. It hurts, and I've been kind of down the last few days, and I think that's why, because I'm supposed to be writing drills, and I'm supposed to be with my freshmen right now. And so, but I'm so grateful for this new opportunity. Um, somebody asked me to judge a competition today, and I was like, "Oh, cool, I could go do that." You know what I'm saying? Like, so I it's like as soon as I get down a little bit, something reminds me, "Hey, God's got you. Keep your head up," and that's what I'm doing, and that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. With every tragedy, there's triumph, right? Um, I know not what you experienced, not on that level, but I understand what it means to not be in the place that you are used to being, the place that you're comfortable with being, the place that you felt like that was the calling, where your passion was, where you spent multiple hours in school and time and money investing in the thing that you thought you were going to do forever. I mean, this literally just happened to me today. Taking my daughter to her volleyball camp, and I'm looking outside and I see, because it's at the local high school, and I see the freshmen outside doing, maneuvers, and a little bit of me just kind of teared up because, I'm not in that space anymore. But the other half of that and the other side of that is, and very similar to what you said, the level of freedom that you're going to have, and the availability to do things that are still within the art, but not necessarily in the way that you thought it was going to be. It is a little bit more rejuvenating. I just this past weekend, I had some of my former DCI kids like, "Hey, I want to get you back for next summer." So, you are going to have those opportunities, and they're going to continue to come. And I look forward to seeing the growth and the advancement and the movement that you make based on this, because you ain't got nowhere else to go but up. Because just hearing this and just, my goodness, is, woo, I didn't know the story was that deep. But I'm telling you, you have nowhere else to go but up from here. I just had a conversation with somebody in my church. Man, we go through peaks and valleys, and you went through the valley, and now it's time for you to start climbing towards the peak. So, sky's the limit. So, with that being said, though, is there any, because you have multiple
I see them.
yeah, they all in here. Is there anything that you would like to say to the Virginia Union family or band family, KK Psi, Tau Beta Sigma? Again, this is your show, so the floor is yours.
The first thing is Tau Beta, I only say this: Tau Beta Sigma, y'all better do what y'all need to do to keep everything going. Because we reestablished Tau Beta Sigma in 2017, and we've been fighting to keep small chapters alive, and we have a good group of. I keep saying it's like I say we, and it's hard to break out of that. But Ada Psi is a wonderful group of girls, and I want y'all to make sure y'all the keep it moving and keep it going forward and keep the mission and the purpose there. Kappa Kappa Psi, I really, really, really am so excited to have become a brother of Kappa Kappa Psi before this happened, because I fought for so many years. We all fought for so many years, literally like 9 years to be approved to get Kappa Kappa Psi back. And Kappa Kappa Psi finally came back this year, and it honestly was the highlight of the. It's so many. It was the worst year ever, but it was the best year in so many ways, and that's one of the reasons why it has been one of the best years, because um Kappa Kappa Psi, I'm telling you, those guys are gifted and special. Like, go and watch the probate. Like, I'm serious. They are. It's just like I was so excited about what the future was gonna hold with them, and just with their talents, and just seeing how much easier things became when, for me, because like I said, no staff. The day to day was so much easier once they made it so much easier. I'm gonna get it together, but they made it so much easier.
You good? The floor is yours.
Yeah.
If you gotta go ahead and get some snot going, it's okay.
I'm trying to keep my eyes open too, so it's just like, but I I just really want to make sure that those entities stay and not die again, um, because they did die. No matter what condition the band is in, you can keep KK Psi and Tau Beta Sigma going, because it's not a marching band, sorority, or fraternity. It's a band, sorority, and fraternity, and you will always have some part of that at Union. I believe that 100%. And to all of the students, like, I just really wish I could have said bye. And I know that Union fired me the way they did by design, because y'all were gone already, and it makes sense. But we were working on those GPAs, and I want y'all to continue to work on those GPAs, keep them up. I also want y'all to stay positive, even when things look really, really bad. Stay positive, because when y'all go through stuff, when AOS goes through stuff, and I'm gonna always say we when I say AOS, because I named that band, so you AOS, and that's gonna be we. But when we go through stuff as AOS, that's when y'all are on top when it comes to performing. So everything that you're feeling this year and right now, I want you to continue to put that into your horns, into your instruments. If anything, I heard that y'all were all getting like 3 new instruments per section, with the exception of percussion. I'm incredibly happy for y'all for that. It's been almost 10 years since y'all got anything. Well, 8 years. So just take care of everything that you have, because if you don't take care of what you got, God's not gonna bless you with more. So one monkey don't stop no show. Y'all are the show. So y'all keep it moving, y'all keep it going. And I do want to say, if it is any other staff on here, they're not saying anything, so I wouldn't know. But I love them with the love that God has for me, and so much of my life every day was filled with talking to them all the time. And it's really a huge transition not talking to them every single day. Um, it's a huge transition, Jay, not even having the kids text me and say, "They're messing up my paperwork. Can you go to financial aid office?" I really wish I could go to financial aid office for y'all right now. But I'm just seeing all the hearts and all the stuff, and he texting me. So, but I love y'all to death.
You loved.
Yeah.
You
Hey
you
Jay.
you mama Cole.
Yeah, I used to shy away from them calling me mama, and then I realized like one of my students, he told me he didn't have a mom. And he said, and I'll say this, he been calling me every week since Luffy, y'all know Luffy. Luffy been calling me every week since I haven't been there. And he been checking on me. And I remember I was walking into the unemployment office, like with my head hung low, and Luffy called me and just made me smile and helped me. It helped me walk the next step to go into the door. But he told me, he was like, I don't have a mama. You are my mama. And you push me and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to shy away from that title. If you feel like that's what you need to call me, then they can call me that. I'm good with that. And I know people have issues you don't say Mrs. or Professor or this or that or whatever, but yeah. But I appreciate this because this did give me the opportunity to. Hey, Juliet. This did give me the opportunity to really say bye because I didn't have that opportunity.
Yeah, I told you from the beginning, I don't want to sit here and ask you a bunch of questions. I wanted this to be your way of telling your story. And I feel like that's what happened. And you can see, like I said, the chat, your whole band is in here. I'm pretty sure if they had instruments in their face, they be playing for you right now. So that's what this was for. This wasn't, in my opinion, and this wasn't to try to air no dirty laundry. This wasn't trying to put nobody on the back. This was for you to be able to tell your story. Specifically, like I said, the way that it was presented to the world versus what truly happened. You deserve to be able to tell your side of the story. And so that's why I felt like this was necessary. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and say this. I know that you've already kind of said your things to your kids and your staff, but are there any final thoughts that you have through this process? Any final thoughts that you have, just through this journey and then moving forward?
Um, I know that I'm gonna be okay. And I couldn't say that. I couldn't say that 2 weeks ago, or I mean, like 2 weeks after that happened, I couldn't say that I'm gonna be okay. But I know that I'm gonna be okay. I believe that God orchestrated the things that He needed to orchestrate for me to be okay in this position right now. Um, Elevation is not always the way it looks that you think it should look. You know, um, so I'm okay, and I know I'm gonna be. I know I'm gonna be okay. Um, I just want one thing that to anybody that's a band director. I just want to say one thing that I learned in this process is if you have taught K through 12, like don't ever let your teacher's license expire. Because I've gone through having to get my teacher's license renewed again because it expired in 2017. So um, don't ever let that expire. Keep that thing going just in case. And uh, just make sure you feed into yourself because that's one thing that I could say that I neglected to do while I was at Union because I just couldn't because I was by myself. I hope you understand what I mean by when I say I was by myself and then I had a staff. I was by myself because there was nobody there during the day to help with the day to day.
No, I get it. I absolutely get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because as a faculty member, well, during the time when you were faculty, but even when you switched over to staff, you were still doing the same thing. So no, I absolutely get it. They show up, when it's band practice time, but when it's, operation time, it's you and you alone. You taking care of paperwork, you doing classes, you doing everything. So no, I get it.
Okay. Yeah. So I just yeah, this has been like really therapeutic, honestly, for me, and it's been healing for me. And it, again, like I said, there's many great people at Union. I absolutely 100% adore the president of Virginia Union. When he first got there, it was a lot of stuff going on, and I could feel his emotions through some of the things because he let us know how he felt through everything. And so I do want to say thank you to him for letting me keep that position while he was there, and not looking for somebody else as soon as he stepped in the door. And then, because he came from Bethune-Cookman, so you know what they used to. But Union can be a Bethune-Cookman. All it's gonna take is support.
Yep.
Yeah, Union could be a Bethune-Cookman. Um, and hey, maybe that's the way it's going. Because I mean, maybe that's the direction. uh, um,
I'm gonna say this. Listen, maybe I'm gonna put my foot in my mouth. But if I do, so be it. I don't care because I do that quite often on this channel. All I'm gonna say is this: I just don't want to see another Southern looking band. So whoever's gonna be over Union, please keep whatever it is that Fayesha was doing. Just get bigger. That's it. That's so, because I don't want to see somebody else sound like Southern. All right. I don't care if I put my foot in my mouth. Y'all know how I am. I don't really care about that. That doesn't mean that I think the Southern sounds bad or anything like that. I like variety in marching band. All right. That was my little plug. All right. Let me get out the way.
But I need to say thank you to my church family, because honestly, they have taken care of me, like legitimately taken care of me, because I had 2 kids, a house note, 2 car payments, a husband, and we got to still eat every day with my pay being gone, but my church family has really, like, I have soap powder, I have so much stuff that they have sent to my house, and uh, can't walk through the church without them putting something in my hand. And I mean, it helps. It really does help. It really does help. So I gotta shout out my First Baptist Church of South Richmond church family, because I know we're not gonna go hungry. I know we're not gonna go hungry. But yeah, I mean, I really don't have anything else much more to say, but like I said, I appreciate you giving me this platform.
Absolutely. And yeah, shout out to the church family. Always, hey, if y'all ain't in somebody's church, get into somebody's church. I'm just telling y'all now, the way that the church will rally around you, that is what it's for. Yes, you go there, you get fed the word, but they will also feed you in other ways. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, when I had to step away, my church was right there. So, and they still there. So, guys, all I'm gonna say is this has been a very, very interesting conversation, but I felt like one that was super needed. I just want to say, Faysha, thank you for coming on and just having this conversation and just being able to speak your side of the story, speak your piece, and just allow yourself to, I don't necessarily want to say grieve, but I definitely want to say get this off your chest in the best way that you could. And again, this wasn't about trying to gossip. This wasn't about trying to throw anyone under the bus. This was really just about you being able to speak your piece. And also on the back end of it, let people truly know what's happening in these band rooms. Because we speak so much about what's happening and what's going on in the bigger schools and so on and so forth. But what we often don't talk about, and what we try to talk about a lot sometimes on this show, is what's happening in the smaller programs. the things that are happening with directors in smaller programs, the high turnover rates. Those things are real. And to find somebody who had been there for this particular amount of time and then being released, again, this is not uncommon. So on the back end, this is definitely one of the reasons why I wanted to also have this, just to open the eyes that other things are going on out there besides your top 5, top 6, top 7 programs. So again, Fayesha, I absolutely thank you. I appreciate it. I'm actually just gonna close it out right here instead of doing the whole thing that I usually do. So what I'll say again, Fayesha, thank you, guys. I appreciate you guys for joining us. Again, Talk That Talk will not be back with the full cast until mid-August, so just be on the lookout for that. Also, Luke's Band Report is going to be happening on next week. We're going to be talking about Edward Waters College, as well as all of the upcoming things that we have or that has taken place in the band world. Other than that, I have nothing else. Again, I appreciate all of you guys for stopping by, man. This was just a special episode that I felt like we had to do. And so again, Faysha, I thank you for coming on. Mr. Cole, since you sitting over there on the side, I appreciate you for just allowing her to come on and give her testimony. Cause it's husband and wife duo. You can't do it. Yeah, there you go, man. I appreciate you 100%, man. Just allowing her to come on and hey, being an amazing husband. I'm going to say that being an amazing husband, standing by your wife, that's what it's about, 100%. So, and I'm gonna say this as a husband, I'm going to always support the Chocolate family. So you just continue supporting your wife, man, and all that she's going through. The band family is going to stand behind her. And, now that we know the story, now that we know the truth. So again, I thank both of you all for just allowing this particular situation to go on. So I thank you once again, brother. And Mrs. Cole. So you guys have a great one. This has been super dope. Again, smash that like button on the way out. Also hit the subscribe button. I have nothing else. And I will see you guys on Luke's Band Report on next week.